anything else. So there are HCL interview questions, and Valli have posted these interview questions. Got it.
Actually, Devi has posted there, so
Hmm.
just ask.
Sure, not a problem. Really 5 minutes back. Let's go. So I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once you're able to see it. Yeah. Can you see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So in today's session, we'll just discuss on the interview questions. Then we will drop off. And if you want, you can continue. If we are able to complete it before time, then you still can continue and discuss about the project. Because in the project, I'll be a project manager. I cannot guide you on how to do that. You should be the person who will be doing that. Okay. If you want to form teams and do the even that's fine for me. I don't have any objection. Okay, next. Initially, they discussed about the role. Okay, self-introduction. So, how exactly are you telling about self-introduction? Can I hear it from Sonam? Sonam, now that you understood about 3 weeks, we are doing this. So, how are you giving a self-introduction? Can you please tell me?
Yeah, hello. My name is Sonam. I have done my BTech from a lovely professional university in 2011. After that, there is some gap in like in my career, and
So,
I have
okay.
joined the
Sonam,
UiPath.
again, I initially discussed you. Don't talk about gaps. Don't talk about your college. That's not important at all for the interviewer. So when some
Okay, like
so when
mm,
someone asks you about self-introduction, they bloody hell think only about how exactly are you going to help this organization, nothing else, or the role.
okay,
It doesn't matter even if you have some gap. It doesn't matter even if you didn't work for 1 year. Don't even bother about talking about it.
okay,
Let's do it once more. Okay, you need to speak about your achievements. What are your activities in the project? Okay, even if you didn't do a project, say that you have done a project, and in that project we have done many activities for the past 3 weeks. Say each and every activity that we did. Okay, this is for everyone. When an interviewer asks you about your self-introduction, it doesn't mean that you need to say tell about your name, details, and your personal details. That doesn't matter for an interview.
okay.
All we require is what have you done with respect to the project that is related to this interview, nothing else. Let's do it once more, Sona. Even you need not say about your name, because why do you need to say your name? They already called you Sona. Then why again
Okay.
you start with my name is Sona? That's not required.
Okay. Mm. Yes, I have 1 year experience in UiPath. I have done work on different projects. In which there are two projects in which I have developed and test so many things. In I have used different activities for that. That are like I have worked on Excel automation, web automation, and I have used Captcha and. I have done some small work on VBA macros also. Um, and my last two projects was related to airline, related to aviation domain, and another project was filling GSTR returns. And in GSTR returns, I've used Outlook. I have used Lotus Notes in this project. Hello. Yeah, I was doing.
That's it, Sona. You should talk about 3 minutes continuously. Okay, let's do it with someone else. Okay, it doesn't.
Yes.
It's fine. So, Sonam, I want you to go ahead and try it again after others do it. So,
Okay.
Pragati, I want you to try it for me, please. Tell me about yourself.
Yeah, sure, Mr. Hi everyone.
So I have total 15 years of
Correct.
IT experience, and I have worked in the different domains in the finance, logistics, and banking. Right now, I'm working in a banking domain where we are using RPA, and this is for the project where we have plenty of bots, unattended bots, which we have to handle as per the requirement of the business. So we are using orchestrator for that, and along that we are using some of the data services and AI fabric as well. We have a team which we are managing onshore and offshore, and the work is divided between different people, like we have a full support of architect. We have the full fledged team of RPA, where we are developing the unattended bots and delivering to the stakeholders, and we are using Studio and Studio X both, because as per the requirement, business should be able to run the bots as well, because some of the test this is specifically for the business requirements as well, where business has to run the unattended bots without any help. So we are delivering that in the production environment. So apart from that, I would say that I have worked
Pragati,
regressively in
Pragati,
the integration space and regression space. So we are
Pragati, just a
and
second.
yeah,
There's one mistake when you are
yeah,
deploying it. If it is attended bot or unattended bot, Studio will not come into picture.
okay.
Okay.
But I'm talking about the development at the same time, that we have
Yeah.
developed the bots using Studio
No,
and
no.
Studio X.
Don't make the mistake about Studio X.
Okay.
Okay.
Why not, Bajrang?
Because
Because business will be using still Studio X. Like if we
that's
are,
correct.
if business is doing that.
Correct. But do you know how many members are currently working on Studio X at the enterprise level?
No, I have no idea. But yes,
Exactly.
I have heard from the many organizations
Mhm.
that they are using the Studio X along the side.
Exactly. So the problem while saying that you are using Studio X is for business users, and most of the production bots will not be moved into production, but they will still run in their own machines. Okay. Hello.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah, Bajrang, sorry, I went on mute. Yeah.
yeah. So, if you are going to say that business users, say that you developed, so you trained business people or business users to use Studio X. You worked
Oh,
in that part, and you help them in
oh,
correcting and creating the solutions. But don't say that when deploying they are using Studio X to deploy the to work with their solution. That's not correct.
okay, okay.
Okay, and you're talking about regression testing extensively. So, when you talk about regressive testing extensively, then your profile seems to be towards testing phase mostly.
Right.
Okay, don't talk too much on testing. When you want to be a developer, talk about development more. Okay.
But I think, Bajrang, like there is little mismatch, because when I'm talking about the organization, even I have been giving some interviews, not really regarding the RPA testing, but what I have seen the requirements as well. At the same time, they are looking continuously. They are looking for the people in the testing space only who have domain knowledge as well, and at the same time they have RPA experience as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you might have taken interviews mostly on the testing front, but when you take interviews on, for example, let's ask Praveen. Praveen, you have interviewed many interviews, right? How many of them did you find regarding testing?
Testing is very low, Vajrang. They
Okay.
mainly go for RP development.
Exactly.
Testing, I didn't find the requirement.
Exactly.
When I search jobs in US, exactly, especially in US, they don't prefer testing.
Exactly. Okay.
Here
So,
it is different.
Pragati, if there is a job requirement and that in the job description, if there is clearly mentioned that it is for testing, then give details more on testing.
Okay, so you are saying that other than that, but when we are talking about our own experience as well at the same time, uh, I think it's okay to talk about what you have worked on, because they at the
True.
same time they will be interested to know that what you have worked in what
Exactly.
space. Because I have like so much experience, I just can't fake it up.
No, no,
and I don't want to.
you need not fake it up. But when you are talking about regression testing, you need to talk about what are the activities that you have done using UiPath to do regression testing. That's what you need to talk.
Okay.
Okay, so when you
Okay.
say that you're doing regression testing, you need to say something like this. As we have test cases and the manual testing process is taking longer time, we are using UiPath Studio to create automated test process, and we are running it to create the test reports.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's fine. So something like we are using the UiPath orchestrator where we are organizing, scheduling, and analyzing the test
exactly,
execution as well.
exactly.
Yeah, and it integrates into our DevOps tool chain as well. Yeah.
Sure. Yes. So understand how what is the job description and how you need to answer.
Okay.
Okay. So, but if you are going for a system architect or solution architect role like I am doing, so I'll be
Mhm.
looking more on how you are designing a solution rather than how exactly you're working on writing an if condition or else condition or writing exactly with a code perspective. So my interview will be a different phase. I will talk more on the business front. I will talk about success factors of the bot. I will also talk about what if the bot fails, how I design the bot to make sure the bot continues to execute.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so depending upon the job description, the answers should also change.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So now I will take your opinion or your answer at the end. So, yeah, Preeti, thank you so much. Let's go with others. Okay. Okay. So let's see with just a second. Okay. So Ganesh, uh, what are all the
Yeah.
activities you have used? Tell me most activities you have used that can connect Orchestrator with Studio. So that's the
Connect
third question.
activities I have used for connecting Studio with Orchestrator.
Like, oh, if you want to use
Uh,
some Orchestrator resources, what have you used?
yeah, uh, okay. In project in our project, I have used get queue item to access the queue item from Orchestrator. Then I have used get asset and get credential activities as well. Uh, Get asset will access the asset values, and
Okay.
get credential activity will fetch the credential detail, username and password that is stored in the orchestrator assets.
Okay.
Uh, then I have used set transaction status activity uh, that after completing the transaction, the status depending on the result, the status will be updated with either success or fail.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's it. That's all I have used up till now.
So, what is the difference between get queue item and get transaction item?
Uh, okay, get transaction.
Yeah. Can anyone answer this? Get queue item versus get transaction item.
So get queue item retrieves list of item information. So it is like we have a bunch of transaction items, and for with respect to transaction get transaction item, we can retrieve one transaction, single transaction.
Okay.
And you're asking this difference, right? So
Yes.
with respect to difference, like if you are retrieving the transaction means when we add the get transaction item, uh, like it will be in the in progress state. Sorry, no, that is the answer. So No, the first get queue items retrieves the list of transaction item. Get transaction item retrieves the single transaction item.
Mhm. So, what is add transaction item and what exactly is it used for?
Yeah, add transaction item adds the particular transaction to the queue, and it will be in the in progress. The status will be in progress,
Okay. So, when exactly
and
will
it
you
will be
use?
started.
So, when exactly will you use get transaction item, and when what is the requirement for get queue item? Okay, add
When
queue
we
item. Okay, add queue item and add transaction item. What is the difference, and what are the scenarios that you are going to use?
okay, add queue items is if you want to upload bunch of items into the queue, we can go for add queue item. For add transaction item, if you want to process immediately, means we go for add transaction item, and it will be the immediately it will be uploaded to the queue, and it will be in progress state.
Super. Thank you. That's a correct answer. Um, okay, here again, I would like Maha to answer. Maha, what are the projects you have worked on?
I have worked on invoice processing, data reconciliation projects, and then uh, purchase order related project.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You need to explain more, Maha. You cannot just say that, say the headings and you cannot leave. So you also need to say what are the components that you have used. So everything that's related. Can you please give a
Okay.
retry?
Yeah, there is another project I have done for reimbursement processing. Here, the employees will provide their bills or details related for claiming the expense. So all the details will be stored in Excel. Then those details will be picked, and it will be pasted in the web application, so that the application will be it will be saved. Then it will go for the next stage for approval. There, for intimating the person who is going to approve, we used mail automation. This is one project.
Not a great answer, Maha. You need to reframe that and create a new story. The story is not properly heard or it's not clear. Vali, can you please retry this same question? What are the projects you have done? Vali?
Okay. Yeah. Um, Actually, my last project was as I was worked in the it was in the domain of trade and mortgage. So we'll get the number of trade details from our business. So from the date trade ID, we'll extract from the source. So that would be Excel. So and we'll extract the trade ID from the various application as well as take from websites too. So after grabbing the informations, we need to compare with the net and gross amount and reference details of the particular trade ID with respect to the trade ID and whether it is settled or not. We have to manually calculate it through the using the bot. Once if it is settled, we'll mark it as a settled trade ID and we'll push it into the database. If it is not settled, we'll notify the customers so how much they have to pay and we'll go for the partial or full trade settlement. So this is the whole project scenario. So here I got opportunity to work on extract the trade ID from the Excel and searching the trade ID from the applications from websites. So so these are the things I have worked on. I have created process on this. Yeah.
Okay. So let me recheck with the question. Explain about projects you have worked on. Okay, please think about the question again. So Wally, what you have done is you explained about one single process. I haven't asked you about one single process or the last process that you have worked on, and I haven't asked you about the description of the process. Okay, so let's give it a retry with Rahul. Rahul, can you please retry with this question?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. I have worked on many processes like, for example, one is purchase order generation. So in that we have used Excel automation and RE framework for that project. So another one project is like for processing the insurance document. So in that project we have using document understanding for processing that particular PDF documents. And and we implement that document understanding flow in RE framework as well. And our third process is like for demand update. So we have to enter particular demand in particular web application. So in that we have used web application and Excel automation. In that we use data table. We implement data table in RE framework. We are not using queues. We are using data table in RE framework for processing that data, particular data. Like that we have.
Okay, so Rahul, when you said that you are using RE framework with data table, what is the exact business requirement that you need to use queues? Why don't you use queues, and why are you using data table as transaction items?
So there are only means numbers data. So there are only model name and numbers. So we did not require to upload in on queues. We only required to process it.
That may not be the exact reason that you can say. Can anyone tell me this? Why exactly do we need to go for data table instead of transaction item queues? What can be the reason?
Security reasons.
No, because complete platform is built on security. If you remove security from the platform, then why someone will add it? Pragati, can you give it a try? Why do we need to go for transaction item as data row instead of for queue item?
For improving the performance time.
No. Pragati, I want you to give it a try, please.
Processing the large amount of the data.
Okay, but not entirely true, because even with queues we can process large amount of data, right?
Yeah, but we get the built-in functions, different functions with the data table.
Okay. Okay. See, you need to understand the advantages of using queues. Using queues, you can add the data and multiple bots can work on queues. Okay, but in our requirement, in my requirement, I am business requires only one single bot, and having an orchestrator queue seemed to be the best option. But again, we worked initially. The project is created on data rows, so we used it. But when we are using data rows, we are again updating that in the orchestrator queue, and then we are changing the values. But here the requirement should be like unique, like it's a small project and that will run locally, and that doesn't require any user intervention to update, or that doesn't require any queuing mechanism to update in the transaction queues. Okay, if you can say something like there is no need for wait time, bots can process in a linear method, something like that, then it can be an acceptable answer rather than saying other options.
Okay.
Okay, so RE framework need not be worked only with data rows, but it can also be worked with a list of data items or list of values. So you just need to change the value item type. Okay, so I suggest you not to say that you worked or you implemented uh, RE framework with data rows, but say that you know how to change or how to convert RE framework to use data rows. That can be a good answer.
Okay.
Okay, that is a safe answer, I would say.
Mhm.
Okay, uh, next. Let's go with the next item. Or explain the stages of document understanding. Okay, so if you have written document understanding specifically, then you will have the questions on document understanding. Please go ahead. Uh, Anyone can give it a try because I haven't taught document understanding. I do know that, but if you know, you can please tell, or else I can just give you an answer and then we can skip.
Sorry, can you please repeat the question?
Explain the stages of document understanding. Praveen, you want to give it a try?
Yeah, let me try. Vajrang,
Mm-hmm.
here we have in the document understanding we have the taxonomy stage
Mm-hmm.
where we can add the taxonomy for we can add the taxonomy fields, and we have to provide the document type. What is the type of document, whether it is in the form of accounting department. If it is in the accounting, we have to provide the invoice like that. We have to categorize it, and after that it will be stored in the taxonomy.json file. So once it is created, it will be taxonomy.json, and this particular taxonomy data type is moved to the we have the digitization. So in this digitization format, it understands the document and it will interpret it. The purpose of digitization is to understand the document and it has to interpret it. We use OptiPage OCR for that, for
Mm-hmm.
understanding this document, and it has two outcomes. So one, it is like a document text. We have the document text, and we have the data object model as an output, and this will be passed to the classification section. So in the classification section, we can have keyword based classifiers. So where we added, let's say if we want to do document understanding for invoice means, we have to provide the keywords, invoices, bill to bill from, like those keywords. Based on that, it will understand the documents. And once it is done, we have to provide the classification results as an output, and it will be transferred to extractors. In the extractor section, we have where the extraction takes place. We have a for base extractor, a regex extractor, and we have machine learning extractors. So
Mm-hmm.
when we work with the machine learning extractors means, we have to install the intelligent OCR activities for extracting that, and we have form based extractor. We have to specify the a format. So we have to provide some format for extracting document, and with respect to ML based extractor, we have to add some keywords for that, and we have to match that particular let's say if you have invoices means, we have to check that particular thing, and based on that once it will extract the document. And we have after extractors, we have present validation station. So it will shows how it has extracted the document, and we have some confidence score on that, in that. And we have the authority to validate this particular thing, whether it is extracted perfectly or not. And we have a section called retrain the extractors. So we have those option as well. And once it is done, it will be exported to the separate data table. So once it for exporting purpose, it is in the output will be in the data set. So we have to convert it into the tables, and we have to write it into a separate Excel sheet, and it will be entered to a separate system.
Excellent. So, how many types? How many? Do you know that we will have retrieve two data tables after completing document understanding?
Yeah, yes, Vajrang.
What is the difference?
Actually, I'm here. Actually, I used to get trapped, Vajrang.
Okay. So, when we are adding or when we are doing this data document understanding, we'll get two results. The like
Okay.
two tables. First table is without formatting, and the second table is with formatting. So, what is the difference is when you are using with formatting. For example, let's say that you are adding a currency. So, currency value will be in the format of value and then .00 or .53. But if you are using it in a text format, then it will be like a text format. There is no formatting in the data table. So these two options will be possible. It will be available for you depending upon the requirement. If you want to take it as text-based table, you can take it like tables of zero with the index. Table set will get it right. Table set of tables of zero, and then the second one is table set of two. Data table set of two. So these are the
Okay.
two tables we'll get, and depending upon the requirement, like how we code, if we want a uh, if we want it to be formatted, we will take the second one. If we don't want it to be formatted, we will take it the first
Okay. Okay.
one. Okay. So this is the
Okay.
answer.
Okay. Okay.
And now, what are the parameters that you would consider when working with a long running process? Okay, again, this long running process are too much. If you want, you can say you can skip. How did you implement UiPath Action Center? Okay. So I think Praveen, you added all the latest cheesy words in your resume and you are getting all these questions.
No, Chirag, actually,
Uh-huh.
UiPath guys asked this question,
Okay, okay.
and they
Got it,
want to
got it.
check
How,
AI
how,
Fabric, data service, these
got
stuff.
it, got it. How exactly you know the latest stuff? I do get it now.
Yeah.
I don't know that this is UiPath actually, but thank you. Yes. So if you want to go, let's go with easier ones now. What are all the stages of RE framework? Again, Sonam, can you please try it now? Stages of RE framework.
Yeah, there are four stages of RE framework. First is like init applications get transaction data. Third is process transaction and end state. In the initialization, we'll open all the first we'll read the config file and we'll open all the application. If you want to kill the process, everything will come in it and get transaction data and will in it will get the data that on that we want to process. We'll read the data from we'll get the data from queue if we are entering that we are using the orchestrator, and in the processing we'll do work on that data, and in end state all the will close all the applications.
Okay. So how will you handle dynamic web elements, like elements that change dynamically? So I think
um,
we created the last project is based on the dynamic web elements, if I'm not wrong. Like supply chain management, a bit
yes,
of it is
with
dynamic.
help
Uh,
of selectors and
mhm. So what are dynamic selectors?
we can use asterisks or in question mark.
Okay. See, it's not only about asterisk or question mark. There is also a possibility to add variables into the selectors. Do you know that, Sona?
No, Vajan, no.
Okay, please take it as a task and find how can you use variables and arguments inside a selector. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is a tricky question as well as an important question. Difference between default send window messages, stimulate click activities, and default. Can you please try, Pragati?
Sorry, Vajrang, 1 minute. Let me go through the question.
Difference between default send window messages and stimulate click or stimulate type.
Which question is this? Which number? Sorry.
17, 17, 17.
17. Default send window messages and simulate click activities. No.
Okay. So, if you use type into activity, there are three options. First one, default.
Simulate click, I know that when we are typing into the into some text box, that we can just mark that activity as simulate. So that's what we will do in real. So that's what we want the bot to do. Simulate activity.
Okay. So, send window messages and stimulate click will help you. Stimulate click or stimulate type will help you to execute in background. Execute the click activity or type into activity in the background. But the difference between these is stimulate type. Let's talk about stimulate type. Stimulate type and will not allow hotkeys. Okay, send window messages will allow hotkeys to be typed. For example, if you add page down in stimulate click or stimulate type, it will type in or it will add the word page down, but it will not send it as a hotkey in the background. But send window messages will be able to send hotkeys in the background. But default need to be processed on the foreground. It cannot be done in the background. Like for example, if the window is minimized, okay, if the window is not active, during these conditions, we cannot use background properties like send window messages and stimulate click. And if the application doesn't support background activities, then we will go for default. Okay, so simply there are three options: default, send window message, and stimulate click, and stimulate type. So the send window messages and stimulate will can be used to execute or to do the activity in the background. So if the process or the application doesn't support, then we can go for default. Okay, and the difference between send window messages and stimulate type is send window messages is faster, but it is error prone, and it will be used to send hotkeys, but stimulate type cannot be used to send hotkeys. So out of this, stimulate click or stimulate type is 100% accurate, and you can it is stable if the bot support or if the application supports it. Am I clear?
Yeah, Vajrang.
Okay, so let's go with 21st scenario question. There are 100 transaction items, bought transactions, bought one first transaction, bought two second, and bought the third. Executing bought one crashed during runtime. How do you handle it? So let's go with Ganesh.
Okay. The transition. When bot one will got crash, the application system exception will occur, and
So
the transaction.
he's saying that bot crashed. You are not able to do any activity on it.
Yeah, but the transaction item that it picked from orchestrator, the orchestrator will get system exception, right? If a bot get crashed.
It's crashed, so it cannot proceed further. Even the execution itself not continue.
No, no, the bot will not complete the execution, but as orchestrator will get the exception for that.
It will not get
Bo-
exception. It will not get exception. It did not send any exception. In the
So
process,
what's
bot
okay, then
abnormally stopped. That's it.
uh, then the transaction item will be in progress state,
Mhm.
and
Someone is
I-
telling something. Then it's just a second. Pragati, you want to talk?
Sorry, no.
Oh,
No,
fine.
actually, I talked. Sorry for the interruption. So, how can we come to know what got crashed? So, what is the thing? How can we did we get any error like uh, what
Let,
got crashed?
let Vali answer this. Let Vali.
And sorry, one more question here, Bajrang. Normally, while executing the bots as well, we have seen that if we are trying to process and something crashed, the transactions also in the queue items, it comes to failed. So how do we pick the items again and process from that state?
No, transactions item until and unless you set them to either success or failure, it will not be automatically set to fail. You need to set it using set transaction status. Only then it will be set to failed or success. Okay, and we are saying failed, but the item will be in abandoned state if the item is moved into in progress state, and if it didn't continue or set the transaction status for 24 hours, after 24 hours it will set into abandoned state. And Wally, can you please tell me how will you monitor a bot execution and see how it's crashed?
Actually, we can monitor through monitoring tab in the orchestrator.
Exactly.
So, but I'm not sure about crashed.
The
How
same
to
thing. The same thing. So whenever a robot is connected to orchestrator, it will be in connected state or available state. But if the robot is disconnected, there will be a pop-up that will be available in orchestrator. Like the pop-up uh, breadcrumb will occur, and you can see the alert on the window stating that the bot is disconnected. So if you are having orchestrator open, then you can see a message stating that it is crashed and you need to manually verify it. That's one. And how do you do it? So once you get it, then you need to check in application logs in orchestrator to find out where exactly the bot failed and how what is the last log of it. And if the log is not continuing and if you're not getting any logs, you can stop the bot execution for that particular machine. You can disable that machine so that it will not continue any further. Then you need to log into the machine to check with the error manually. You need to log into that robot and check what is the error and find if the error is resolved or not, and then you need to restart the bot to make sure
how
that
to how to restart the bot?
maybe you can just kill the assistant and then reopen it again. That's one option. Restarting the machine itself is the last option, but
Okay,
that's
okay,
also an option.
okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
when bot 1 failed, so the transaction will be affected and that one transaction will be in progress state. But if you want to restart it, or if you want to add a new item, just there is an option. If it is failed item, then there will be an option for transaction item to clone it or retry it. So when you use clone and retry, a new transaction item with the same details will be created in the same queue. So a new bot will pick up the same transaction. Okay.
Okay.
Next, as a developer, what are all some of RPA developers? So I don't want to add these. You do it. Self-intro projects that I worked on. See, most of the interviews will have common questions. Like if you take the 10 interviews, and 70% of them will have the same questions. All they are interested in what are your projects and how did you work and what are the exceptions that you got and how did you resolve it. Like, are you a problem solver or not? No. What are the challenges you faced as a mentor? If you get selected, can you lead a team? It just meant that are you aware? Do you have that leading capabilities? Like if you are given a task and if there is a junior, will you be able to communicate effectively and get the task done? Let's say that I have orchestrated queue and return number 5, return number is config 4. Which one will be prioritized in RE framework using queues? So when we are using queues, uh, will this RE config value even will be checked? Even if the value retry number is 4, will it be checked or not? Can you please confirm?
No, it will not be checked.
Yes,
The queue retry number that will be given the priority or that will only be used.
exactly. So if you are not using queues, only then you will use config value, nothing, nowhere else. How can you perform migration of on-premises to cloud to orchestrator? Okay, I did some research. So there is a cloud migration tool that will help you to connect. So what you need to do is you need to create a new application in cloud, and you need to give add that install that cloud application, and you need to open a browser, and while installing itself you need to give 127.0.0.1 as the local IP. So what it will do is it will connect your orchestrator database to on-premise on-cloud orchestrator. So it will be like a bridge between two orchestrators. Now, when you continue with the flow, most of the things like robots and queues, jobs, everything will be created, and triggers also will be created. Things that will not be created are uh, it will not be able to start the process or start the job, and it will not be able to create assets with orchestrator credentials, any credentials it will not, though it will add it, it will be with blank. It will, you need to go ahead and add passwords for them. Okay, so these are the differences, and you need to manually check after migration what are the options or how did it happen complete. So my data migration tool is a tool that will be provided by UiPath itself while continuing with the cloud migration. Okay, fine. How will you run jobs in floating robots? Okay, so floating robots is an instance where you don't have one single machine assigned to one single robot. So whenever you start, whichever machine is available, it will be assigned to a particular license, and the bot will start. That's the use of floating robot. Scenario-based question. Let's say we are running bot inquiries and queues, and though the bot ran successfully, but transaction status is in progress. How will you sort out this issue? So all you need to do is first check why that particular, before transaction, before we start, if the progress, if there is item that is in progress state and no bot is executing it, then you need to take that progress and set the status to business rule exception. This is in progress for a couple of hours, so setting it to business rule exception, and you can send out an email to the stakeholders to manually check it. If they want, they will reassign the key item, or they will create a new item. Okay,
Uh,
so now
okay.
since we have we are done with the training for this day, uh, I want you to retry. Tell me about yourself.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I have 2 years of experience in IT, in which 1 year as a UiPath developer. For the development in all, I involve like all the phases of SDLC from analysis, design, development, and testing. I did almost all kinds of automation, for example, Excel, web, email automation, PDF automation, and image OCR. To complete my projects, I have used different automation techniques to automate complex processes like scrapping, OCR engines, recording, UI Explorer. I worked on UiPath and Orchestrator during projects. With the help of Orchestrator, I was able to do the like scheduling for the project. I have done work on two projects. One was related to airline process, and another was related to mother dairy board. That was related to GSTR. In airline process, I have worked on six airlines for Indigo, SpiceJet, Vistara, Go Airline, Air Asia, and Singapore. In these airlines, we are entering the data based on the different conditions like their PNR number, ticket number, invoice number, and on the basis of input file, robot will download the invoices in the PDF form and save the PDF. And in the another project that was related to GSTR, in this I have divided the bot in three parts. First of all, like extract the OTP from Lotus notes. In this workflow, We are entering the username and password from config file. Then select the company and states one by one. After that, for every GSN, we are generating the OTP. We are reading the OTP from Lotus Notes and enter into the OTP window. And another part of this, like we have to fill the returns, that is for GSTR1. Data was entered in GSTR portal with their credentials, and these credentials are provided on mail by the client, which are then used to log in into web portal and do the conditional processing. Yes, this is all about my projects.
Okay. So I want others to give a feedback with the first answer and with this answer. How did you feel? Everyone can give the feedback.
The second one is best one, Mudran. She explained about the
It's well
project
defined.
in detail.
Exactly. So trust on what is the, you need to talk about what is the best you have done. Don't think too much about the gaps. Don't think too much about what's your personal thing. That it doesn't matter. And it, you answer in the same way. Sonam, this is the best answer you can give. You have done everything. You discussed about projects. You discussed about components. You discussed about reusable things that you have done, and you also discussed about domain and how exactly you worked in those domains. So this is the perfect answer.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this meeting is recorded. So please listen this particular meeting on your answer from the first one and the last one. You can easily get through the differences.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, that's
Yes.
it from my end. Hope you got all the information from this meeting. But I want you to create projects. So that's what the task for this last week is. And we have been training for the past 3 weeks, and this is the time that you can do your own project. And the project is not so simple. See, I'm talking about the way how we implement it in a project. It's not just to write some data into a website. That's not what we want in this particular project. Are we doing it completely, and are we doing it perfectly with all the error handling methods and the best practices? Each and everything will be keenly monitored. Okay, so all the best. Let's continue in tomorrow's discussion, and if you want to discuss anything tomorrow, please bring it up into the board and we can talk it up. Okay.
Okay. And please send me that YouTube video, Mithran. Thank you.
I will upload it just a second. It's not a
Not
YouTube
this
video.
one. Yesterday's one. The last working day. Last. Yeah. How
Okay.
it is.
Give me just a second. Okay, downloads. Just a second. I think I got it. I will upload it directly in the chat now, so you can download it.
Okay. This is 5 minutes video, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's only 5 minute video.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 minutes
Actually,
13 seconds.
yeah. What are the best practices in production support? What are the reports can we make?
So
Can we discuss tomorrow or
yes, we can discuss tomorrow. Write all the questions that you want.
sure? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
welcome. Anything else? Or else have a great day. Bye bye, and
Thanks,
for
Vajra.
others, have
Thanks,
Thank you
sweet
so
everyone.
much.
dreams. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vijay.
Good
Bye.
evening.
Thanks.
Thank you.